Hey, what's up, guys? This is Rich, and I'm here with Andrew from Capcom, here giving you another look at Lost Planet 3, this time single player mode. Now, Andrew, we're actually a bit farther in the game than most people have seen to this point, right?
That's exactly right. We're a little past the halfway point, actually.
Cool. So now we're following Jim. What has just been going on? Set the stage for us. Where are we within the game? Where are we within Jim's life on EDM 3?
Sure. Well, Jim has just gotten back to the base of Coronis, which is kind of his Nevik home base, after a stint at the Snow Pirate base. And I'll leave some of the nitty-gritty details for when people play the game. But let's just say he's been gone for a while, and people are kind of wondering, where he's been. And he's come back, and people are happy to see him. They also have a lot of questions. But he's been told to report to the mechanic Gale, because Gale has some interesting news about some new rig upgrades.
Gale always seems to have some interesting news about utility upgrades. So in this case, I mean, obviously, folks are listening to us versus Gale. So what exactly is Gale telling Jim? What has Gale got for Jim this time around?
Well, he's got two major upgrades for the rig. One of them is the acetylene torch, which is a right arm upgrade, and therefore is used for attacking as well as clearing out ice and things like that. And most importantly, he's going to enable his rig to be transform platform mode capable.
Okay.
And that is going to allow Jim to drill down into deep core reservoir thermal energy pockets.
And we'll see the platform mode a bit later, actually, in a separate commentary that we will show you guys. Tell me a little bit about just sort of the philosophy behind the rig this time in Lost Planet 3. I mean, this rig that you guys have sort of designed here is a lot different from what people have thought of it for Lost Planet 1, Lost Planet 2. Tell me a little bit about that kind of philosophy or design approach.
Sure. In the first two games, you basically had what are called vital suits, and these are kind of smaller, more mobile, kind of very fast weapons platforms. They have chain guns and missile launchers and things like that. For LP3, since we're going back in the past, we decided to show the predecessor of the battle suit, which we've called the utility rig, and the idea being that this is a civilian machine that's used for construction and for boring out tunnels and basically helping the colonists build their colony.
Right, sure. So, a lot of people, I'm sure, have seen the fact that Jim can be inside the rig and do combat and missions and outside the rig. About how much of the game is rig-based, how much of the game is foot-based?
Well, you can get in and out at any time, so it will depend a lot on the play style, but I'd say it's probably about 60% on foot and 40% in the rig, and you do use the rig to get from place to place. So as we can see, I now have my torch attachment that's been put on my rig, and it's being raised up so I can get into it.
Cool. So now where are we headed?
Well, since we're talking about the rig, I'm going to take us over to Gale's area here where he's got his shop that you can actually use to purchase rig upgrades.
Awesome. Now let's talk a little bit about the upgrade system. You typically use your thermal energy when you're getting guns and those sorts of things. What do you use here? What's your currency for your actual rig upgrades?
Well, here you basically are going to use pieces of scrap metal and components that you find out in your adventures. So you'll be able to, as you're exploring hidden areas and things like that, you'll be able to find pieces of scrap that you use here. And I'm going to use a little bit of debug magic to give myself some money so I can actually come in and buy some of these things.
If only it were that easy. Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing here. Walk me through some of these upgrades and kind of what they'll mean for players.
Sure. Well, the winch is something that you get over the course of the story. We've shown it in a couple of videos before. It's what enables you to shoot out your claw arm and grab enemies and reel them in, and it also has an environmental use, which I'll show you later. There's also some very useful purchasable upgrades here, like the T-Energy Absorber. Basically, this allows you to, grab thermal energy from the environment without having to get out. If you don't have this, Jim's got to get out of the rig to grab thermal energy, but this you can just walk over it.
Cool.
Extended winch increases the range of the winch by 50%, which is great. And then another thing that I really like is you can buy like fighting moves for the rig. So basically, the double arm smash is something that, as its name suggests, you can bring both arms down. And so it's really nice to be able to use it against enemies. Plus, you can get hull improvements, 25% increase in damage capacity, and then these will ramp up. So as you buy the 25%, you get the 50%, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. So, I mean, basically the upgrades are a mix of not only equipment that you can use, but also, you know, more stat-based upgrades, you know, upgrading your sort of defensive capabilities, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, so now Jim's got his new equipment, he's got his upgrades, and now I guess we're headed off to jump in the rig and go on some adventures.
Exactly. He's been given the mission to go ahead and use his platform mode on a deep core reservoir. And he's been given the location of it, so he's actually going to go out and use this platform mode for the first time.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about, you know, so we're talking about the rig and the upgrades that can get. What other upgrades are actually available to Jim? I mean, he can do weapon-based upgrades. Is there anything else he can upgrade, or is it more specific to just buying weapons, getting those upgrades, and rig and those upgrades? Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, Jim can buy new not only rig upgrades, but he can also get new weapons and weapon upgrades for the stuff that he does have. And each weapon has its own kind of unique upgrade, and we'll see some of those later when I get to the combat sections.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go ahead and exit the base now in my rig, and I'm going to show you guys some of this stuff. This is a great chance to show off for the first time ever our fast travel system.
Nice.
And as you can see, normally I just exit the base as usual, but since I'm farther on in the game and I've accessed a bunch of areas now, I've unlocked the fast travel system where I can just bring up this menu and select where I want to go, and I can just go directly there.
And the way that works is if I've been somewhere before, then I can go there again. That's
Exactly.
the idea. Cool.
Exactly.
Now, what are we seeing here? Jim's talking to us, or his wife? Probably his wife, right?
He's talking to his wife, yes. You'll notice as you're playing Lost Planet 3 that Jim will get messages from his wife asking him how he's doing on EDN3, and then he'll send back these replies. And this is kind of a clever implementation, if I do say so myself, because we're loading in the background. So instead of just looking at a normal loading screen, at certain points in the story, you're going to see these messages going back and forth. It's not just Jim, it's other characters as well.
Oh, awesome. All right, so now we've jumped over. Now, where are we exactly?
We are in Bishop's Junction, which is this area that's going to lead us to our thermal pocket where we're going to use our platform mode. But before we do that, I want to show a little bit of the cool functionality of the winch. So as people might have seen from some other stuff we've done, the winch is, it allows you to fire it out, and you can use this to hit enemies. If you grab onto larger enemies, you can reel them in. So it's got that cool functionality. But it also has an environmental use as well. So I found a grappling point here, and if I fire the winch at that, I can latch onto it. If I exit, boom.
Now, I saw that there's that extended winch that you could have upgraded to. If I get that extended one, does that allow me to access areas that I couldn't access with the normal winch? Like, as I upgrade my rig, will I be able to find and access new areas?
Exactly. Almost all of the upgrades, except for the armor plating and the T-energy absorber and stuff like that, have the ability to allow you to access new areas. So there'll be some areas that you can get to with the normal winch, and since that's something you get over the course of play, it will factor into the critical path areas, so to speak. But by getting the extended winch, you can access even more optional areas. So for the kind of the completionists out there who want to get everything and see everything, just keep earning thermal energy and keep powering up your rig so that you'll be able to get all those upgrades and find even more stuff.
Awesome. So now you've been fighting a bunch of little beasties, but there's some thermal energy hidden around here somewhere, right?
That's right. It's probably hard to hear over the commentary, but I've got a little beeper that's kind of like a hot and cold sonar that tells me where the thermal post is. And this is one of our optional objectives. You'll be shown how to plant thermal posts throughout in the story, but after that you can use the sonar to find the areas to deploy them, and then once you've deployed them, these will fill up with thermal energy over time. And then if you come back later, you can harvest that thermal energy and get more money.
And how do I know that I need to come back? Is there some sort of in-game cue that's like, hey, go back?
Yeah, your mission log will ping you after a certain amount of time has passed and tell you. It's all in Jim's voice. So be like, I better go check that that thermal post back in such and such to see if it's full now.
Awesome.
All right, I'm going to jump back into the rig now that I've planted the thermal post and it's gathering energy. I'm going to jump back in here, and we'll be on our way.
Very cool. All right. Thanks so much, Andrew. And for more on Lost Planet 3, stay tuned to IGN and be sure to check out the second half of this commentary where we get into some platforming mode and fight a lot of beasties. Stay tuned.